Hey guys! So it has been a little bit since we've had an installment in our Craft With Me While I Read segments. So I thought I would do a little bit of reading from the Tales of Beedle the Bard again. We have worked our way over halfway through the little book, so that's pretty cool. I am just going to be working on a diamond painting and reading this to you guys, so feel free to craft with me whatever you feel like working on. I'm working on a Pikachu diamond painting, and then I actually also do try coating it with Mod Podge and show you guys what that comes out like. Alright, so we are going to be reading Babbity Rabbity and her Cackling Stump today. Today is not part of the title. A long time ago, in a far-off land, there lived a foolish king who decided that he alone should have the power of magic. He, therefore, commanded the head of his army to form a brigade of witch hunters and issued them a pack of ferocious black hounds. At the same time, the king caused proclamations to be read in every village and town across the land. Quote, "Wanted by the king, an instructor in magic." No true witch or wizard dare volunteer for the post, for they were all in hiding from the brigade of witch hunters. However, a cunning charlatan with no magical power saw a chance of enriching himself and arrived at the palace claiming to be a wizard of enormous skill. The charlatan performed a few simple tricks that convinced the foolish king of his magical powers, and was immediately appointed Grand Sorcerer-in-Chief, the king's private magic master. The charlatan bade the king give him a large sack of gold so that he might purchase wands and other magical necessities. He also requested several large rubies to be used in the casting of curative charms and a silver chalice or two for the storing of maturing of potions. All of these things the foolish king supplied. The charlatan stowed the treasure safely in his own house and returned to the palace grounds. He did not know that he was being watched by an old woman who lived in a hovel on the edge of the grounds. Her name was Babbity, and she was the washerwoman who kept the palace linen soft, fragrant, and white. Peeping from behind her drying sheets, Babbity saw the charlatan snap 2 twigs from one of the king's trees and disappear into the palace. The charlatan gave one of the twigs to the king and assured him that it was a wand of tremendous power. "It will only work, however," said the charlatan, "when you are worthy of it." Every morning the charlatan and the foolish king walked out into the palace grounds, where they waved their wands and shouted nonsense at the sky. The charlatan was careful to perform more tricks so that the king remained convinced of his grand sorcerer's skill, and of the power of the wands that had cost so much gold. One morning, as the charlatan and the foolish king were twirling their twigs and hopping in circles and chanting meaningless rhymes, a loud cackling reached the king's ears. Babbity the washerwoman was watching the king and the charlatan from the window of her tiny cottage, and was laughing so hard that she soon sank out of sight, too weak to stand. "I must look most undignified to make an old washerwoman laugh so," said the king. He ceased his hopping and twig twirling and frowned. "I grow weary of practice. When shall I be ready to perform real spells in front of my subjects, sorcerer?" The charlatan tried to soothe his pupil, assuring him that he would soon be capable of astonishing feats of magic, but Babbity's cackling had stung the foolish king more than the charlatan knew. "Tomorrow," said the king, "we shall invite our court to watch the king perform magic." The charlatan saw that the time had come to take his treasure and flee. "Alas, your majesty, it is impossible. I had forgotten to tell your majesty that I must set out on a long journey tomorrow." "If you leave this palace without my permission, sorcerer, my brigade of witch hunters will hunt you down with their hounds. Tomorrow morning you will assist me to perform my magic for the benefit of my lords and ladies, and if anybody laughs at me, I shall have you beheaded." The king stormed back to the palace, leaving the charlatan alone and afraid. Not all his cunning could save him now, for he could not run away, nor could he help the king with magic that neither of them knew. Seeking a vent for his fear and his anger, the charlatan approached the window of Babbity the washerwoman. Peering inside, he saw the little old lady sitting at her table, polishing a wand. In the corner behind her, the king's sheets were washing themselves in a wooden tub. The charlatan understood at once that Babbity was a true witch, and that she had given him his awful problem, could also solve it. "Crone!" roared the charlatan. "Your cackling has cost me dear. If you fail to help me, I shall denounce you as a witch, and it will be you who is torn apart by the king's hounds." Old Babbity smiled at the charlatan and assured him she would do everything in her power to help. The charlatan instructed her to conceal herself inside a bush while the king gave his magical display, and to perform the king's spells for him without his knowledge. Babbity agreed to the plan, but asked one question. "What, sir, if the king attempts a spell Babbity cannot perform?" The charlatan scoffed. "Your magic is more than equal to that fool's imagination," he assured her, and he retired to the castle, well pleased with his own cleverness. The following morning, all the lords and ladies of the kingdom assembled in the palace grounds. The king climbed onto a stage in front of them, with the charlatan by his side. "I shall firstly make this lady's hat disappear," cried the king, pointing his twig at a noblewoman. From inside a bush nearby, Babbity pointed her wand at the hat and caused it to vanish. Great was the astonishment and admiration of the crowd, and loud their applause for the jubilant king. "Next, I shall make that horse fly," cried the king, pointing his twig at his own steed. From inside the bush, Babbity pointed her wand at the horse, and it rose high into the air. The crowd was still more thrilled and amazed, and they roared their appreciation for their magical king. "And now," said the king, looking all around for an idea, and the captain of his brigade of witch hunters ran forward. "Your Majesty," said the captain, "this very morning Saber died of eating a poisonous toadstool. Bring him back to life, Your Majesty, with your wand." The captain heaved onto the stage the lifeless body of the largest of the witch-hunting hounds. The foolish king brandished his twig and pointed at the dead dog. But inside the bush, Babbity smiled and did not trouble to lift her wand, for no magic can raise the dead. When the dog did not stir, the crowd began first to whisper, and then to laugh. They suspected the king's first 2 feats had been mere tricks after all. "Why doesn't it work?" the king screamed at the charlatan, who bethought himself of the only ruse left to him. "There, Your Majesty, there," he shouted, pointing at the bush where Babbity sat concealed. "I see her plain, a wicked witch who is blocking your magic with her own evil spells. Seize her, somebody, seize her!" Babbity fled from the bush, and the brigade of witch hunters set off in pursuit, unleashing their hounds, who bayed for Babbity's blood. But as soon as she reached a low hedge, the little witch vanished from sight, and when the king, the charlatan, and all the courtiers gained the other side, they found the pack of witch-hunting hounds barking and scrabbling around a bent and aged tree. "She has turned herself into a tree!" screamed the charlatan, and, dreading lest Babbity turn back into a woman and denounce him, he added, "Cut her down, Your Majesty. That is the way to treat evil witches." An axe was brought at once, and the old tree was felled to loud cheers from the courtiers and charlatan. However, as they were making ready to return to the palace, the sound of loud cackling stopped them in their tracks. "Fools!" cried Babbity's voice from the stump they had left behind. "No witch or wizard can be killed by being cut in half. Take the axe if you do not believe me, and cut the grand sorcerer in 2. The captain of the brigade of witch hunters was eager to make the experiment, but as he raised the axe, the charlatan fell to his knees, screaming for mercy and confessing all of his wickedness. As he was dragged away to the dungeons, the tree stump cackled more loudly than ever. "By cutting a witch in half, you have unleashed a dreadful curse upon your kingdom." It told the petrified king, "Henceforth, every stroke of harm that you inflict upon my fellow witches and wizards will feel like an axe stroke in your own side, until you will wish you could die of it." At that, the king fell to his knees too, and he told the stump he would issue a proclamation at once, protecting all of the witches and wizards of the kingdom and allowing them to practice their magic in peace. "Very good," said the stump, "but you have not yet made amends with Babbity." Anything at all," cried the foolish king, wringing his hands before the stump. "You will erect a statue of Babbity upon me, in memory of your poor washerwoman, and to remind you forever of your own foolishness," said the stump. The king agreed to it at once, and promised to engage the foremost sculptor in the land, and have the statue made of pure gold. Then the shamed king and all the noblemen and women returned to the palace, leaving the tree stump cackling behind them. When the grounds were deserted once more, there wriggled from a hole between the roots of the tree stump a stout and whiskery old rabbit with a wand clamped between her teeth. Babbity hopped out of the grounds, and far away, and ever after a golden statue of the washerwoman stood upon the tree stump, and no witch or wizard was ever persecuted in the kingdom ever again. And that was the end of that tale. So let me know in the comments what you thought of it. And I hope that you are enjoying crafting along with me here. I look like I am getting out my Mod Podge now and seeing how that goes. So I will take a clip after the Mod Podge application to show you guys how it came out and like my thoughts on it. Alright guys, so this has had time to dry. And I coated one side of it in Mod Podge and the other side I didn't, so that I could compare like luster, I guess would be the word. This is the side that's not coated, so I wanted to see how much it dimmed like the sparkly shininess of the diamonds to use Mod Podge as a covering. And I did that just because I have Mod Podge in the house already and I don't have something else. So, and then this is the side I coated, and I can tell because around the diamonds will be sticky if you don't put some kind of a coating on it. And I can attest to that because the Eevee that I did has been like a magnet for any little bit of like pet hair in the house, which really sucks because I really like the Eevee. So I'm gonna have to try to get that off. But Eevee is looking a little bit more furry than I would like. Here's Eevee. Actually, I keep her on my desk, and I try to pull the hairs off. I don't know if you can really see. I don't know if there really are any right now. Yeah, there are right there. It's not focused. There you go. Now you can see like right there, there's a bunch of hairs. So I wanted to see about coating it with something. And I know that they make stuff that you can coat these with, but I wanted to try to see if I could get anything that I had to work, which was just Mod Podge. I just wanted to see if Mod Podge worked. I guess I have like Elmer's glue, but that would definitely like make it not shiny. So, so this is the other side. This is the side I did. Here's the side I didn't do. So you guys will have to let me know what you think. I think it did dim the shine a little bit. So here's this side. And then here's this side. But I'm not sure if it dimmed it enough that I would be like opposed to doing it. I'm not sure yet. Oh, hello, Yuri. So you guys will have to let me know what you think, and I'll try to take stills from this video. That way I can like have the exact same lighting and put it side by side of the front and back, because I think that that will also help a lot with knowing whether or not it if it dimmed the shine too much. And I do have a ring light over here, so it's giving a very like good lighting for it to catch. So yeah. It's like I can tell it's on there. It's not just the diamonds, it's also in between the diamonds. So I can tell it's on there, but I don't know if it's like a negative thing or not. But yeah, at some point I will get some other things to try as far as coating these go, to get rid of that sticky like residue that stays after. And you guys can let me know down in the comments if you have something specific that you use. I did go and put on my Amazon wish list the stuff that Terry from Yarn Joy podcast uses for hers, because it is a little bit expensive. So at some point I'll grab that, and that'll probably be perfect because that's what she uses, and she does diamond paintings a lot. Thank you to whoever had suggested that I go check out hers because she coats them in something. I knew that she did that, but I didn't think about it. And I was like, you know what? That's a good point. It's probably like, she probably mentions it in one of her videos. So I like scoured around a little bit, and I found the video where she mentioned what she coats them in. So if anyone else is interested in that, it is on my wish list. So you can just go and get it for yourself from there. But at some point I'll get that. And I've noticed like, I think there are some other things like on some of the websites that like I got my diamond paintings from. So like I said, I'll branch out a little bit, but I thought I would go ahead and try Mod Podge since I was making another one of these. And I think I will go ahead and Mod Podge the second side too, because I don't think it looks bad, because you guys see how sticky that is. And then this side that I coated already, it doesn't stick at all. It's not sticky at all. So good to know. You can use Mod Podge, because I know a lot of people just have Mod Podge laying around their house. So